So this is the video lecture for section 10.2. So I'm going to work out these problems. This is exactly what I would have done in the Zoom meeting. So I had some tech issues, but we should be okay for the next class meeting. So in this section, we're going to be solving linear equations. And so linear equations, what you want to do is you want to isolate the variable on one side. So you want to end up with w is equal to some value or x is equal to some value. Regardless of the variable, you still want to isolate it. So what we're going to do is kind of take away everything that's on the same side as the variable in order for us to kind of start clearing it up. So here, since I have a minus 7 or negative 7, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And what that's going to do is it's going to move the negative 7 from the left side over to the right side. Now, here, since I have negative 2w is equal to 18, I'm going to divide both sides by the coefficient, right? Because I want to isolate the variable like I said before. So negative 2w divided by negative 2 is just going to be w, because the negative 2's are going to cancel each other out, right? So if I have this, that's equal to 1w, which is just going to be w. And then 18 divided by negative 2 is negative 9. Now, it's always also a good habit to just double check everything. So negative 2 times negative 9 is a positive 18. And 18 minus 7 is 11. So that solution of negative 9 works. All right, let's look at this next example. Very similar to the one that we just finished doing. We're going to add the 5 to both sides. So we get negative 5y is equal to 15. My coefficient is negative 5, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5 so I can get rid of it. And then y is equal to 15 divided by negative 5 is negative 3. So let's go ahead and check it so we can see whether or not that solution will work. So that's going to be 15, right? Negative 5 times negative 3. And then I get 10 is equal to 10. And so that works. So the solution for this equation is negative 3. So y is equal to negative 3. So here, same thing, right? We want to isolate the variable. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Now 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So I want to say that 1/5 x is the same thing as x divided by 5. So those two are equivalent terms. When you have a fractional coefficient, such as 1/5, what you want to do is you want to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of that fractional coefficient. And so when you do that, you're going to end up here with a negative 5, right? Because you're going to have negative 1 times. So if I was multiplying these, I would multiply, if you think about this, right? So it'd be negative 5 over 1, which will be negative 5, which is what I have. So then here, these two, so 1/5 times 5 over 1 becomes 5 over 5, which is just equal to 1. The other way that you could have done it is by canceling out, right, the 5's, which will still give you the 1. So then let's go ahead and double check it to make sure that it's going to give us the correct answer. So then here we get 2. So 2 is equal to 1 over 5 times negative 5 plus 3. And just like I showed here, this is going to be equal to negative 1 because it's going to be 1 over 5 times negative 5, which is the same thing as negative 5 over 5, which is negative 1. And here 2 is equal to 2, so then my solution, in fact, is negative 5 for this one. So here we're going to do the same thing, right? We're going to add 7 to both sides, so I get 9 is equal to 1/2 a. Since my coefficient is a fraction, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. And so here I end up with a, that's why I did that. And then here it's going to be 9 times 2 is 18. 18 over 1 is 18. And so let's go ahead and double check it, right? So it's going to be 1/2 a, oops, not a, it's going to be 18, right? So, oops, let me get rid of that real quick. I don't want that. I want this. So equals to 1/2 times 18 minus 7. 1/2 times 18 is 18 divided by 2, which is 9. And then you can see that this is equal to that. So the solution set for this one is in fact 18. So in this case here, we have variables on both sides of the equal sign. So it doesn't really matter where you move them. You just have to pick something. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the 2x from both sides. So that'll leave me with 4x minus 4 is equal to negative 8. Again, I could have subtracted 6x from both sides. I could have added 8, added 4. It doesn't really matter. So here I'm going to add 4 to both sides because I want to start isolating my variable. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I get x is equal to negative 1. So we're going to check it, right? So 6 times negative 1 minus 4, 2 times negative 1 minus 8. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. This is going to be negative 2. So negative 6 minus 4 is negative 10. Negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. So that checks out. So my solution is x is equal to negative 1. All right, here's another example. I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 4x from both sides. The reason I do the smaller one is because I should end up with a positive if my larger coefficient is a positive. So this is going to be 6x minus 3 is equal to negative 2. I'm going to add the 3 to both sides. So I get 6x is equal to 1. I divide both sides by 6, and I get x is equal to 1/6. And then I'm going to go ahead and test it out to see if I get the same thing. So let me make sure I got everything right here. So I subtracted 4x, I get 6x minus 3, added the 3, that's a 1. And so this is going to be 10 over 6 minus 3, and this is going to be 4 over 6 minus 2. And so if I turn the 3 into a fraction with a 6, it's going to be 18, right? So 6 times 18, 6 times 3 is 18. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So it's going to be 10 over 6 minus 18 over 6. Same thing here, right? I need a 2. So it's going to be 12. So then this one here is going to be negative 8 over 6. This is going to be negative 8 over 6, right? So 4 minus, so those are equal to each other. So then this is the solution, x is equal to 1/6. All right, so I'm not going to read all of these things. This is basically what I've been talking about since I was solving the equation at the beginning. So here is a little different. We have to get rid of the parentheses, which means that I have to multiply everything in the parentheses by whatever value is on the outside. In this case, it's going to be 2. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify the left side. This is going to be 2p minus 6, right? So 2 times p is 2p. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. I'm going to add the 6 to both sides. So I get 16 is equal to 2p. Divide by that, right? So it's going to be 16 divided by 2 is going to be 8. So p is equal to 8. So I'm going to go ahead and do this because I know that's going to be that. So 2 times 5, and you can see that that's going to be 10. So then the solution is p is equal to 8 because it works out. It's a true statement, right? The left side is equal to the right side. So here's another example. So this is going to be 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times negative y is negative 7y. I'm going to subtract the 21 from both sides, which will give me negative 7. And if I divide both sides by negative 7, I get 1 is equal to y. So I'm going to go ahead and test it, right? And so it's going to be 14. So 3 minus 1 is 2, and then you can clearly see that it's going to be 14 is equal to 14. So that's the answer, y is equal to 1. So in this case here, we have some decimals, and so we're going to solve them the same way. We're not going to do anything special here. So I'm going to subtract 2.2y from both sides. So I get negative 8.3 is equal to 4y plus 12.1. Right, so 6.2 minus 2.2 is going to give me 4. So in this case, I'm going to subtract the 12.1 from both sides. So if I do negative 8.3 minus the 12.1, I get negative 20.4, right? And if I divide that by 4, I get that y is equal to 5.1. And so I'm going to go ahead and test it, right? 5.1 minus 8.3 is equal to 6.2, 5.1 plus 12.1. So 2.2 times 5.1 will give us 11.22. And then 6.2 times 5.1 will give us 31.62. So make sure I got everything right here. So 8.3, 12.1. Oh, that's 20.3, sorry. No. Yeah, 20.4. That's okay. So here we have 11.22 minus 8.3. 2.92. And then 31.62 plus 12.1. So here we got two different values, so we're going to go ahead and double check it again. We're going to do it from the beginning, just in case we made a mistake somewhere. So then here, what I'm going to do is, I'm still going to subtract the 2.2y from both sides. So I get 4y is equal 4y plus 12.1. I'm going to subtract the 12.1 from both sides. So negative 8.3 minus 12.1. This is going to give you negative 20.4. So negative 20.4 is equal to 4y. And I think I know where I made the mistake here. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So if I divide that by 4, I get negative 5.1. So 2.2 times negative 5.1 minus 8.3, 6.2 negative 5.1 plus 12.1. So 2.2 times negative 5.1 is negative 11.22. And then 6.2 times 5.1 is negative 31.62. So in this case, we have negative 11.22 minus 8.3, which is negative 19.52. So here we have 31.62, negative 21.62. And so we get the same value on both sides. So I did make a mistake earlier, but the answer is negative 5.1. So always double check your work. So here's another example. So I have to clear out the parentheses. I have to combine like terms. So 2 minus 5 is negative 3. This is going to be 6x plus 18 plus 2x, right? Combine like terms, I'm going to bring down the 7x minus 3, so it's going to be 8x plus 18. Here I'm going to subtract the 7x from both sides. So I get negative 3x is equal to x plus 18. And then I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides. So I get negative 21 is equal to x. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check it here to make it a little bit easier for us. So it's going to be So if I do 7 times negative 21, I get negative 147. And I do 8 times negative 21, which is negative 168. So then if I do negative 147 minus 3 is going to be negative 150. And you can see that this is negative 150, so that one works. All right, here's another example. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this out. So it's going to be 8y minus 4 plus y. This is going to be 5y plus 3, right? I combine the y's here. So 8y plus y is 9y. I'm going to subtract the 5y from both sides, so I get 4y minus 4 is equal to 3. Oops, sorry, I'm going to add the 4 to both sides, which will give me 4y is equal to 7, and then I divide both sides by 4, so I get 7/4. Let me write that a little better. So y is equal to 7/4. All right, moving on to the next one. Again, combine like terms. That's going to be a negative 1 basically, so it's going to be 9 minus z plus 3. Real quick, I write my 2's this way, my z's are this way. So plus 4z is equal to 4z minus 5z minus 10 minus 6, right? I'm going to distribute that negative 5. Let's go ahead and combine like terms. So 9 plus 3 is going to be 12. Negative z plus 4z is 3z. So 4z minus 5z is going to be negative z minus 16, right? Negative 10 minus 5 minus 6. So I'm going to add the z to both sides. Let me get rid of that equal sign. That's not what I meant to do. Add the z to both sides. So it's going to be 12 plus 4z is equal to negative 16. I'm going to subtract the 12 from both sides. So it's going to be 4z is equal to negative 28. Divide both sides by 4, and we get z is equal to negative 7. All right. Going to the next one. This is conditional equations, identity, and contradiction. So a conditional equation, we're going to end up with something like x is equal to 4. Contradiction, we're going to end up with something like 4 is equal to 5, which doesn't make any sense. And identity basically means we're going to end up with the same thing on both sides, right? So in this case here, we're going to find out, is it a conditional, a contradiction, identity? And so conditional has one solution, contradiction has no solution, identity has an infinite number of solutions. So let's multiply that one on both sides. So it's going to be 4k minus 6 plus 1. So 4k minus 5 is equal to 4k minus 5. And so this one is an identity because I have the same thing on both sides, which means that I have infinitely many solutions for that one. So here we're going to go ahead and multiply. So it's going to be 2b minus 8 is equal to 2b minus 7. If I subtract the 2b from both sides, I get negative 8 is equal to negative 7. So that's a contradiction because that doesn't make any sense, right? Those are not equal to each other. So in this case here, I'm going to subtract the 2x from both sides, right? So I get x plus 7 is equal to negative 5. Subtract the 7 from both sides. And so this is a conditional equation. This is, in other words, the left side is equal to the right side as long as x is equal to negative 12 for this example. And that is it for 10.2. Thank you.